What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. We are going to look at Enhancement Shaman today, and we're going to check out some of the nerfs that came down for Enhancement Shaman in the latest patch. They are live now, and I'm going to show you a little dungeon that I did. It's only a heroic dungeon, I understand, yada yada. I just want to give you guys some clarification on what this means for Enhancement Shaman and how it's kind of playing out. So, first of all damage went down by 4%. This affects, of course, the Stormbringer tree and the Totemic tree, which I think is unfortunate because I think the Totemic tree needs a little bit of a love if it wants to get even close to the damage that the Stormbringer tree is doing. That being said, they did buff Tremor Totem by 10%, but again, they should have buffed it by more, in my opinion, and they should have buffed probably Totemic in different ways than they chose to in this these patch notes here. So Searing Volley damage has gone up by 80%, which is pretty good. Again, in the builds that I have tried as a Totemic player for Enhancement Shaman, it's like you never take a Lava Lash focused build. Like, it just doesn't, I don't know. The Searing Volley damage is still not going to be relevant. It was doing like maybe 1% of your damage, or maybe 2%. Maybe it's more like 1%. You're gonna go from like 1% to close to 2% more damage now. So like going up by 80% it sounds like a big number, but it really doesn't matter. So unfortunate here. Totemic didn't get more love. It really still needs more love, more than just the 10% more damage on Tremor Totem. Okay. Now, Ellie Blast went up as well. We don't really use Ellie Blast too much because we're doing a Stormbringer build, which focuses on the lightning stuff, like Lightning Bolt in particular. Tempest now deals 65% of its damage to enemies near its primary target. It was 50%. So they did buff the AoE damage, but they removed the uncapped AoE portion of it. So this is a nerf in larger packs of AoE. It's not a nerf if you're at 5 targets. Of course, it's actually a big buff. Sorry about my nose, guys. It's something's really wrong with it. It's I got some like itch that just won't go away. Anyway, this is actually a pretty big buff, I think I would say, for the most part, because there's lots of pulls where you have 5 targets or less. Now, if you pull the dungeon in a way that, you know, pulls 10, 15 mobs together, then sure, you're going to be doing less damage now. That's just a fact. But I would say on average, this is a buff actually for Tempest. So yes, we lost 4% damage, but the actual Tempest damage itself does more on AoE now, which is really, really cool. Okay, so those are the changes. Now, what does this mean? Does it mean that Enhancement Shaman is doomed? Are we doing 0 damage now? No, we're not. We're really not at all. One really cool thing that I want to mention that I didn't realize until I started doing testing on the dummies is that the interaction with Tempest and Deeply Rooted has now been fixed entirely. So with Thorum's Invocation, when you cast Wind Strike, so when you proc Deeply Rooted and you start casting Wind Strike, it'll automatically cast whichever spender you used last, Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt. Now, Tempest replaces Lightning Bolt. So if you're in an AoE situation and you're pressing Chain Lightning and you get a Tempest proc, you have to manually press Tempest because your Thorum's isn't going to proc it because it's following your Chain Lightning, right? That's a bit of an issue. Now, they have fixed that now. If you're in AoE and you're pressing Chain Lightning and you get a Tempest proc, it'll automatically consume it now, which is really, really cool. Hold on, let me try and get this for you. I'm gonna try and get a Deeply Rooted, but there's one. Okay, look, it casts Tempest right away. You see that? There's Tempest again. Boom, it casts Tempest again. Sorry, guys, my nose is just going crazy right now. But as you can see there on the footage, hopefully, I was casting Chain Lightning, okay? And my Wind Strike will cast Chain Lightning automatically, but when my Tempest procced, it actually went boom and it cast the Tempest for me. So they've completely fixed the combination between how Deeply Rooted interacts with Tempest, and it's really good. The quality of life is there now. So no matter what spender you are using, Chain Lightning or Lightning Bolt, it will cast Tempest if a Tempest procs inside of your Deeply Rooted, which is really massive. So I just wanted to highlight that quality of life. I think it's really good and really helpful. Let's get to the dungeon footage. I'll show you really quickly here. So this is a priory I did. Remember, It's just a heroic. It really doesn't matter. It's like the numbers are just, the numbers are the numbers. But there's your build. We are spreading Flame Shock still with Lava Lash. I think that's important to still do. On packs that last a lot longer, this is going to become more relevant. Right now, it doesn't matter at all. We have our Doom Winds, of course. We have our Wolves. I have Alpha Wolf, so I'm doing physical Wolves. Legacy of the Frost Witch is the biggest talent you probably have in the entire tree, because you need to be resetting Storm Strike over and over and over again to trigger Deeply Rooted, okay? Very important that you do that. And then we have our entire Tempest tree there as well, okay? So there's the talents. Pardon me again, guys, for my sniveling and stuff. I'm just like, I'm literally being attacked right now by something. I don't know what's going on. Here's something I wanted to evaluate, right? How bad did we get hit on the uncapped AoE thing, right? So from my perspective, it's actually pretty good. And I don't think that our damage is actually not too bad in an uncapped environment, even without Tempest. Like, Crash Lightning by itself actually does a crazy amount of uncapped AoE damage. It's just the mobs have to be stacked up really close together to actually get the benefit of it. But Crash Lightning itself does uncapped AoE damage, and then your Storm Strikes that you do afterwards that splash damage, they're uncapped AoE as well. So again, even though we lost that uncapped AoE damage on Tempest, I don't think it's actually too bad, at least in my experience here. There's a little bit of single target damage on the boss. Go over here. He does a really big pull right here. Again, maybe you'll do pulls like this in Mythic Plus, but this dungeon isn't even available until season 2, so just to keep that in mind. But this is a pretty good dungeon to showcase how the uncapped AoE nerfs have hit us, because a lot of these pulls that we're doing right now are completely like uncapped, right? Like, we're talking about there was 15-20 mobs in that pack right there, right? So we're doing a lot of damage right now for having that many mobs, and we're still, you know, pumping, which is really great. So I just want to make sure I highlight this multiple times in this video, because sorry about the lag, because I think it's just important to recognize that, yeah, we lost the huge uncapped part of it, but we did gain a lot of damage. 15% more damage on Tempest is pretty insane, considering Tempest was our highest DPS ability already. And then on top of that, the single target damage for this build is really good. So Enhancement Shaman, it was already doing fine. They were probably doing like way too much damage, to be honest. So a 4% nerf is okay, in my opinion. Like, look at our single target damage right now. We almost did 800k single target damage on that guy. That was crazy. And Tempest was a big part of that. Again, here's another pack. This has only got 6 mobs. So this is like pretty average, I would say. Most packs in most dungeons are like 5 to 6 mobs. So your damage on Tempest is massively buffed on packs like this, because it's not an uncapped AoE pack. You just get 15% more damage. It's reduced beyond 5, but this is only 6 mobs. So your damage on Tempest, I think on average, is gonna go up. Like, for sure it's gonna go up in AoE packs. I forgot I didn't have heroism on my bar. There we go. Off to the races. Here we go. Let's see if we can keep up with this hunter. This is a marksman hunter, and yeah, we're absolutely crushing. Look at that. Look at all the things pouring out of that enemy when we hit him. I really do enjoy this build. It's awesome. Your Storm Strike has a chance to strike multiple times, and it can proc Wind Fury multiple times, and you can just see all the damage just pouring out of that enemy with the little animations going on there. So it's really strong, guys. Tempest is doing crazy amounts of damage. Inside a Bloodlust window, it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I will say my item level is 583. I want to be clear about that. It's 583. So I do have a lot of gear already, but I'm telling you, this build works just fine. It's really crazy. I had a 2.2 mil Tempest there, so that's insane. Okay, here we go. Here's another uncapped AoE situation where it's much more than 5 enemies, right? It's about 15 enemies here, and we'll see how our damage is. I gotta get set up a little bit. This is a harder pull to do for melee. Here comes a Tempest proc. Boom. We're getting smoked right now by the other DPS and even by the tank, actually. But I didn't have my wolves up right away, and maybe he had cooldowns. The point is, this build is something that does damage every single pack, right? Every pack you will do damage with this build, and don't worry about if one pack somebody's doing better than you, because on the very next pack you will get back up there again. That's how this build operates. We're back up above 1 million damage again. We got to get out of the consecration. Very, very nasty, but you can see our damage is pretty big there once again. Okay, here's boss damage. I got a proc right away on Deeply Rooted, which was awesome. Got our damage like right off to the races. Here comes Doomwinds. And the Hunter, I think, gets ahead of us here. But that's okay. Again, guys, this is just all with a grain of salt, please. It's heroic dungeons. It's just the way it goes, right? Okay, we got beat pretty good on that boss fight. Back to a regular AoE pack, right? This is 6 mobs once again. This should be where we're kind of thriving, right? I don't even know if I get a Tempest proc here, but if I did, it would be doing way more damage than before. I'd be doing 15% more damage than last time. So again, I'm just trying to show you pack to pack how much damage we're doing. It's absolutely fine, guys. The 4% nerf, this is with the 4% nerf, and it's not that bad. It's just really not that bad. I'm not sure about Totemic yet. I need to go do another look at Totemic and see if it's okay. But my conclusion on the Stormbringer damage is that it's completely fine. You are going to be doing lots of damage with the Stormbringer tree. It's going to be totally fine. Even if you're pulling big packs of mobs where uncapped AoE damage would be a little bit better, you're still going to be pumping damage. Okay, just keep that in mind for sure. Okay, little last boss here. Last boss doesn't really have anything. I don't think I have really good overall numbers. I just wanted to show you the pack to pack there, but that's it. That's the dungeon. We get to the last boss, we kill her. I don't get the trinket that I was looking for. Unlucky. But Enhancement Shaman is perfectly fine, guys. It's perfectly fine. You run a build like this if you want to. You could flex into Elemental Spirits if you want, but I think Alpha's better. And Tempest is doing crazy amounts of damage. The 4% nerf, I'm telling you, it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. So please don't just abandon ship whenever these kinds of changes come down. People usually, they have this weird tendency to be like, well, I guess I'm switching mains if I lost 4% damage. Don't. You're fine. Enhancement Shaman is fine. You will be absolutely fine. Okay? Trust me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Sorry about all the nose stuff. It's kind of just happened like while I was filming. So I apologize for that in advance. But thank you so much again for watching. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.